But I'm going to say to you right now, you are gods, little g. You are gods because you came from God, and you are gods. You're not just human. The only human part about you is this physical body that you live in.
He's pretty much shared his own nature with us. We're all sort of little gods. We all have a piece of the divine nature. Now, you've heard that. That's pantheism, right?
Well, if you're not satisfied with what you have, quit believing what you're believing and saying what you're saying. And start believing what you want created and saying what you want done. And it will become.
All things are possible to him that...
Now shut your eyes and say it out loud and listen to your own voice as you say it.
Some couple of years ago, there was a book written by Rhonda Byrne called The Secret. It is a book that essentially says you have divine power within you. You're part of the divine energy. In other words, you can create your life the way you want your life to be. You can create your world the way you want your world to be. In the book, there is something called the law of attraction. The law of attraction. You attract a certain kind of reality to yourself. Your thoughts and your words attract this reality, literally create this reality. The sequence goes like this. Know what you want. 2, believe you will get it. 3, visualize the fulfillment of it. And 4, speak it out loud and you will bring it into existence.
Blavatsky wrote the following in 1887, quote, "It is the universal law which is understood by Plato and explained in Timaeus as the attraction of lesser bodies to larger ones, and of similar bodies to similar, the latter exhibiting a magnetic power rather than following the law of gravitation." Besant wrote the following in 1903, quote, "This is the secret of right receptivity. The mind responds according to its constitution. It answers to all that is of like nature with itself. We make it positive towards evil, negative towards good, by habitual good thinking, thus building into its very fabric materials that are receptive of good, unreceptive of evil. We must think of that which we desire to receive, and refuse to think of that which we desire not to receive," unquote.
But all the time, if you're not satisfied with what you have, you've created it yourself. I know you laid it on somebody else, but you created it yourself. Well, if you're not satisfied with what you have, quit believing what you're believing and saying what you're saying. And start believing what you want created and saying what you want done. And it will become.
All things are possible to him that
Now shut your eyes and say it out loud. Listen to your own voice as you say it. All things are possible to him that believeth. Say it again.
all things are possible to him that believes.
Say this, and I believe.
And I believe.
Now let's say it together. All things are possible to him that believeth, and I believe.
All things are possible to him that believeth, and I believe.
Say it again.
We get the mind of God about His will. We pray it. When we pray it, we give Him legal right to perform it.
Yes. Let me define prayer for you in this show. Prayer is man giving God permission or license to interfere in earth's affairs. In other words, prayer is earthly license for heavenly interference.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
God could do nothing on earth. Nothing has God ever done on earth without a human giving him access.
So He's always looking for that somebody.
Always looking for a human to give him power, permission. In other words, God has the power, but you got the permission. God got the authority and the power, but you got the license. So even though God could do anything, He can only do what you permit Him to do.
One of the many fundamental problems of the Word of Faith movement is they blur what should be a very crisp line of distinction between God the Creator and us, His created. They make God look a lot more human than what He is, and they deify man, making us look a lot more like God.
The Bible said He measured the heavens with a 9-inch span. Now the span is the distance between the end of the thumb and the end of the little finger. And that Bible said, in fact, the Amplified Translation translates the Hebrew text that way, that He measured out the heavens with a 9-inch span. Well, I got a ruler and measured mine, and my span's 8 3/4 inches long. So now God's span is a quarter inch longer than mine. So you see, that faith didn't come billowing out of some giant monster somewhere. It came out of the heart of a being that is very uncanny, the way He's very much like you and me. A being that stands somewhere around 6'2", 6'3", that weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of a couple of 100 pounds, a little better, has a span of 9 inches across, stood up and said, "Light be!" And this universe situated itself.
You know, everybody you ask, you say, who's the biggest failure? They say, Judas. Somebody else will say, no, I believe it's Adam. Well, how about the devil? He's the most consistent failure. Okay. But he's not the biggest in terms of material failure and so forth. The biggest one in the whole Bible is God. Oh, what? Don't you turn that set off.